Let's look at the economic growth for Ghana in the first quarter of 2025, coming in at 5.3% year on year. And that, of course, is fastest growth we've seen in about a year, 5.3% year-on-year growth there for the nation of the Black Stars. We're going to get into a number of metrics for Ghana's economy with respect to what led to this growth and what we can look ahead to for the gold and cocoa producing nation. Arnold Dublin-Green, Chief Investment Officer at Cordros Asset Management, joins us. Arnold, happy June 12th, I guess. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So look, I wanted to start off, I guess, with the oil and gas sector, like oil, non-oil, the contraction of 22%.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you make of that as far as the triggers behind that for Ghana?
So I guess with oil, we have seen a contraction. We saw contraction in oil price in the first quarter. So oil probably opened about $80 a barrel. We saw oil trade slightly even below 60 at some point. But the Ghana story is more about oil production than oil price.
Right.
So Ghana hasn't really seen any increase in oil production since COVID. They have about 2 strong oil producing fields. There's been a serious lack of investment in those fields since COVID. So Ghana's really struggled in oil production. It stayed about 188,000 barrels per day for a while. So that's something Ghana needs to work on. It's oil sector.
On the flip side, it looks like this was a non-oil services story.
Yes.
What do you make of the 6.8% growth for the non-oil sector?
Actually impressive, right? So 6.8% is actually higher than the headline GDP numbers.
Yeah.
So it sort of speaks to a broader base for Ghana, going away from oil. So you have services, which is impressive, manufacturing, industries, agriculture. You had gold, huge gold production. I think gold production was up 76%. Gold exports up 76% for the first 4 months of this year. Cocoa tripled as well over the same period. Gold price also really helped as well. But there's other things like services and even fishing as well, right?
Yeah.
So the non-oil of 6.8% speaks to Ghana broadening its base in GDP production.
Fantastic. You mentioned services. I mean, makes up such a huge portion of the economy. It was 40-something%. And also the ICT growing as well. What were your thoughts on those sectors?
Impressive as well for me, right? So for me, that huge, 50% services is what I like to think of as a modern signature of the economy, right? So modernization of the economy. And then ICT speaks to mobile penetration, fintech, ICT, boosting ICT GDP, ICT production, or rather ICT contribution to GDP, it shows Ghana as a tech-forward economy. So positive, very positive for me.
I think you already touched on the on gold, but I guess looking at the industry growing by 3.4, gold being part of that story, and manufacturing. Yeah. So what if you want to go over your points again, what you made on this particular subsector? Gold,
wonderful, 76% or so increase in exports. Gold price increased massively through this period as well, right? So Ghana's gold. Ghana's always been gold, so that speaks for itself. Manufacturing, I think the local manufacturing industry is responding very well to Ghana's FX restrictions. You're seeing huge boosts in SMEs as well. Pharmaceutical production or manufacturing, agri processing as well. So again, strong growth, strong. Ghana's story really is a strong resilience coming from 2022 Eurobond defaults, even debt defaults. So that boost in manufacturing is a strong story for local manufacturing industry.
Also, I think the agriculture sector. You've mentioned fishing, and I guess also cocoa as well. A rebound in terms of the cocoa's for exports and growth for the sector.
So fishing was up about 13 or 14%, which is seasonal. I don't think we're going to see that again for the rest of the year. So that's normally a Q1 story with the fish. Okay. But it's still wonderful. It's still good. Yeah. Cocoa is an interesting one because cocoa is more to do with the production and the price. Although we've seen a huge increase in the price of cocoa due to global supply issues. Ghana has had some issues with pricing the cocoa with the rest of the world. Yeah. But the cocoa story is a production story. It tripled over 4 months of this year. Yeah. So they've really been pushing on the cocoa production. And that's what you're seeing there.
So, Arnold, we talk a lot about, finished goods and I guess diversifying away from commodities on the African continent. But I mean, you look at gold, you look at cocoa, and it's still the same story for a lot of countries on the African continent?
Yeah, I mean, they have to do more, right? Gold, our story is always natural resources, gold, cocoa, and oil. Ghana still has to do more. ICT was impressive, but there's more to do there. Services also impressive. There's also more to do there. Ghana can also push on tourism and other sectors. So there's more to do for all of us, and also on the manufacturing side. But just go back again in Ghana's manufacturing, they've done well, right? The SME and the numbers coming out of the SME industry, it's impressive. Pharmaceuticals are growing really strong. Again, agro-processing as well. So it's getting there. It's getting there.
The Cedi, I really want to get your thoughts on this. It's been on an absolute tear so far this year. What's been the result of that, and how do you see things, the outlook for the Cedi going forward?
So I mean, if we can backtrack a little bit, when Ghana defaulted in 2022, the Cedi was cheap, extremely cheap for a very long time, troublesome currency for a very long time. One thing you can say, though, Ghana has had external position. They restructured the debt, which has really helped the external debt, the local debt and external debt, which has really helped. But on the export side, right, so you had, again, gold exports, cocoa exports. They've had a lot of effects come in because of the huge boost in exports. FX reserves, increase in FX reserves. Import cover is about 4.7 months or so. We haven't seen that level since 2021. So Ghana has seen this strengthening or extreme appreciation in Cedi because of all these numbers. But I still think it's overdone. I think it's overvalued. I think that it's now, I think Ghana is about 10 point something Cedi to the dollar. No emerging market currency, no African market, no African country wants to see this sort of strong appreciation, because it's not, in the long run, it really makes your exports cheaper. Right. But in my view, in our view, what we're going to see, you're going to see the Cedi depreciating again. We believe the Cedi's fair value is about 12 Cedi to the dollar. So we think the Cedi will give back some gains on this.
Now, the debt to GDP has come down. The support from the IMF looks like they've met the thresholds and so on and so forth. So what's the outlook, your outlook for Ghana's economy based on everything I guess we've talked about? Yes,
I mean, it's been a good year so far for Ghana. If you were in Ghanaian bonds, you'd have done well. If you're in Ghanaian Euro bonds, you'd have done well. If you're in Ghanaian equities, one of the best performing equity markets on the continent, about 20% in USD this year. I still think that you see the Cedi depreciate a little bit. I think you see inflation numbers cool off. It's been cooling off anyway. I think it goes to the late teens as the year runs. I know they have an inflation target of 8% to 10%. I don't think we see that this year. Maybe 2026, going into 2027, we might see that. I still think the central bank holds rates for a while, just because it's working, so they're just going to keep rates where it is, maybe for the next two decisions. And that's Ghana. I still think Ghana's good, but we're going to see a cooling off of the currency.
Well, so would it still be a place that you think investors would go to? Would you look at Ghana and say, hey, amongst all the other African countries that are on the continent, it's still an investment case for Ghana?
Definitely. I mean, Ghana, what we're seeing in Ghana now just speaks to the resilience of the Ghanaian economy and Ghana as a whole. I still think it's a good place. I still think another two Cedi movements in the Cedi is welcome. I think gold is still a good story in Ghana. Gold will continue to be a good story. Cocoa is also a good story. I think once they start to invest in the oil and gas sector, you're going to see an even bigger boost in GDP numbers as the rest of the year goes by. So Ghana's good.
Fantastic stuff. Arnold Dublin-Green, Chief Investment Officer, Cordros Asset Management. Always a pleasure having you come on to talk about this.